Yo, it's Toki time. How's it going, everybody? It's time for more Ace Attorney investigations. We're entering, well, I guess we're not entering. We're continuing. We're continuing the beginning of case 4, where finally, I guess we didn't really do much last time, did we? We just kind of investigated and then we cut it off just at the very beginning of our first argument. And oh my God, would you look at that? It's little baby Franziska von Karma. Oh my God. It's so cute. Because they're both little, she's like 12 and he's 17 or something right now. And it's so funny because she's like just starting. She's supposed to be like just about to do the bar exam because that was like the lore, right? She was like 12 or 13 and she's like, oh yeah, I'm very much an adult. I'm the oldest sibling, Mr. Miles Edgeworth. And he's like, why are you here? It's like I love the sibling rivalry. And now, okay. So what did we learn last time? Because I completely forgot everything. Okay, so here's what we have. Manfred von Karma, he's just kind of there. I don't think he's really going to be an important character until we get to like the end of the case. Because the reason he's here, right, is he's Edgeworth's mentor, so he's just kind of there. And like, oh yeah, so there was the smuggling ring. The whole thing is this is like part of the main story. Is that there's a smuggling ring that what's-his-face from the last case was a part of, Mr. Romano, and Manfred has a connection with Mr. Romano, and that's basically the only reason why he's here. Now, oh my God, there's just so much. We have the KG8 incident. Okay, so however long ago this was, we had the KG8 incident where a staff member of the Cadopian embassy, made up country number 3 or 4 in Ace Attorney, where a victim named CCU was murdered by, who knows, presumably it's this guy who we actually have a profile of now. Oh my God. Look at how evil this man looks. Look at his villainous profile. You know what his hair kind of reminds me of? It kind of reminds me of like Baki. You know the show, the anime Baki? It kind of reminds me of like his dad's hair, but he has like the most evil, menacing aura about him. It was probably him. Honestly, it was probably him, but that's not really important right now because we're at the beginning of a new murder where, what's his face? This guy, Bjorn Faraday, presumably the father of Kay Faraday, who I guess technically Edgeworth doesn't know yet because this is a flashback case. Bjorn Faraday is a prosecutor who was prosecuting a case of like a sequel to the KG8 incident. we have like the KG8 incident, where like Cadopian embassy. Oh God, I'm trying to remember. What was the case that he was prosecuting? So like the beginning of this case was prosecutor Bjorn Faraday and defense attorney Callisto Yu were working on a case at the very beginning of this case where this guy, Mr. Macrell, Macrell is Cadopian embassy staff. Yeah, that's why this is connected to this one, because it's both Cadopian embassy related. Murdered someone, and during the case, he was like, okay, check this out. I did the murder, however, this guy told me to do it. And he's claiming that Bjorn Faraday commanded him to do the murder, and that Bjorn Faraday is actually the great Yatagarasu, which is the thief that like steals information from evil companies and then reveals it to the public or something. I don't understand why the Yatagarasu would do the murder if he was trying to get information out, if he would like kill an employee. So that's why I think my theory going into this is that we're going to find out that there's definitive proof that Bjorn Faraday was the Yatagarasu, and we're gonna have to prove that the Yatagarasu would not order this guy to do the murder. However, in the middle of that case that was happening, because he was being accused, they had to stop the trial temporarily and replace him as the prosecutor with Miles Edgeworth. So Edgeworth was supposed to continue the prosecution of that case. However, during the break, oh my God, I guess we can't take a look at this picture, can we? Oh, there we go. During the break, there was a murder, and guess what? Both of these guys ended up dead, which is insane. And we figured out that this was probably set up because Bjorn Faraday has ink, I don't know if you can see, on his left hand, and which proves that he's left-handed, which means he wouldn't be holding a gun in his right hand. There's also a bunch of other random stuff about this that makes it sus. But that's like the main point of contention, is that like, that's proof that this was probably set up by the true murderer, who, just going through all of our characters, we have Manfred von Karma, who we know in the future gets proven guilty of a murder. However, he also wasn't declared guilty of a murder before, so we know that he probably isn't the murderer in this case. This guy's dead. This guy's the previous, oh my God, there's just so much. We're in case 4. We're in case 4, so like, we're not even in our first argument, and there's just so much, information to condense down in a few minutes. Dade Man, am I first? No, you're not, but welcome anyway. Dade the Man was like oh no, he was the victim of, I guess I don't have like the overview for the case that is being prosecuted now. The case that Bjorn Faraday was prosecuting, Dade the Man is the murder victim of that. Oh my God, we have like 3 murders at the same time. We have like the however many years ago murder this was. Then we had the murder that this case was about. And then we have the current murder. Dade Man. So this guy murdered Dade Man, and then he got killed. This is Kay Faraday, who we know who that is. This is the judge. We have Gumshoe, of course. Callisto Yu, who is a new character, and also like one of the, I think this is the first new defense attorney, right? Like the going chronologically from like the first Ace Attorney games, where this is like the, this was after Apollo Justice, right? So this is like the 5th one. This is like the 3rd new defense attorney that we've ever seen other than Mia Fey and Phoenix Wright. So that's cool. We have Detective Tyrell Bad, homicide detective. This guy who's incredibly sus and obviously did the original murder. And we have Franziska von Karma, who we're arguing with. She's 13. It's insane. But I think here's my not like conclusions, but here's my theory, is that oh God. Okay, going here. This was the old murder where CCU was murdered, probably by Manny Cochin, who's the new obviously evil sus guy. So CCU is probably the sister of Callisto Yu, who is one of the characters in this case. I think Callisto Yu did this murder. That's my current theory. I don't think Manny Cochin did this murder. I think he did the old murder, and we're gonna find that out by the end. Either find that out by the end of this or during the next case, because we still haven't like resolved stuff that's happening in the future. He's probably gonna be the villain in the last case. And also this guy seems like a nice guy. Honestly, it doesn't seem that bad. So out of like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, out of the 6 characters that we just got introduced to that are still alive, like we're getting rid of all these 3 characters. Out of the 3 characters that aren't returning characters, I feel like she probably did the murder. I mean, it was either one of these 2, and he seems like a nice guy. I guess he wasn't here. I feel like it's obvious at this point, unless they introduce another brand new character. Isn't there only one other person? In terms of what? Like who was here? In terms of who was here, I guess her. Anyway, it's time to start our first argument. I don't remember what she was saying before this. I literally don't remember. Oh, they were just saying they both killed each other. That's fine. We're gonna prove this wrong. Okay. Mr. Faraday's death was not instantaneous, while Mr. Rel survived for a short time. Was instantaneous, while Mr. Rel survived for a short time. From this, it is obvious that Mr. Faraday died after he shot Mr. Rel. And Mr. Rel, while on the brink of death, stole Mr. Faraday's knife and stabbed him. Those are the facts of the case. Oh, that's it. Awesome. We love a good short testimony. Mr. Faraday's death was instantaneous. Therefore, he must have attacked first. Proving that logic to be false is probably the fastest way to show her that she's wrong. In that case, I should first look for any holes in her theory. Rebuttal! Wahaba! It's the judge! Yeah, obviously. Obviously, it must be this guy. The one character that exists in every single Ace Attorney game. It's obviously him. Instantaneous. I don't have an autopsy report, do I? Wasn't the whole gunshot, didn't hear a sign of a struggle. This was evidence. This was not evidence, maybe. Mr. Rel survived for a short time? Wait, what is her... Faraday died after he shot Mr. Rel. So she's saying that he shot Macrel, and then Macrel stabbed him. And then they both died immediately. Those are the facts of this case. Oh. So what do we have? That's not really relevant. I mean, what is this? So obviously we know that this whole thing was set up. However, I'm not sure what we're contradicting here. Death was instantaneous. Mr. Rel survived for a short time. Do we have anything that says otherwise? Mr. Faraday died. I guess we just press. Let's just press here. In-stream chat's not showing up. Not again. Sometimes I have to like reset this. There we go. I don't know. I set it up before stream, but sometimes I just have to like refresh. Do you truly believe that Mr. Faraday died instantaneously? I have the murder report right here. Did they give you an autopsy report? I don't think so. Mr. Faraday died instantaneously of shock due to being stabbed in the chest. There, you see? It's been documented clear as day. Hold it! Mr. Faraday shot Mr. Rel before he died? Do you have any basis for that statement? Your foolishness has no end, does it? Now, I hate to repeat myself, however, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously. That's all the basis I need. All right, so if Mr. Faraday died instantaneously, then he must have attacked Mr. Rel before being stabbed. You're finally beginning to catch on, I see. Wait, I keep forgetting to read this. I keep forgetting to like go into my evidence sometimes. Discovered immediately after a gunshot was heard. That's probably it. Discovered immediately after a gunshot was heard. Faraday died of a knife stab to the chest. The shock from stabbing caused instantaneous death. Rel died of a bullet wound to the chest. There is no gunpowder burn on his clothes, suggesting he was shot from a few yards away. It's possible he was alive for a little while after being shot. And then there's this. It's the idea discovered immediately after a gunshot was heard. So I think this whole thing was set up. We also found something about the TV, but I guess I don't have that right now because it's in my mind palace. I think they probably played a gunshot on the TV. I think these guys were already dead and then they played the gunshot, and then Gumshoe didn't hear a sign of the struggle. He heard the gunshot, and then immediately, presumably immediately means immediately. Immediately he entered the room and found them already dead. So there was probably no time for them to like stab. Just not sure where I'm presenting. Those are the facts of this case. Hold it, are you sure? Claiming speculation as fact already. Don't you feel that the evidence is a bit lacking? You'll find all the evidence you need just by looking around this room. Mr. Faraday collapsed on top of Mr. Rell. In addition, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously, making a counterattack impossible. Furthermore, the room is a total mess from their fight. I dare say that there's more evidence here than you could whip a whip at. Looks like she's becoming more and more confident. And, looking at this place, she might have a right to be. After all, everything here seems to support her theory. It looks like you're starting to see my point. I've as good as won a little competition. Na boo boo. Now I get a treat and you don't. This isn't fair. I also want a treat. There's something strange about Franziska's theory. I should compare her claim with the data I've gathered thus far. I just know there's a contradiction somewhere. Okay, so I think I'm right. I'm just not sure where I'm presenting this evidence. While on the brink of death, stole Mr. Faraday's knife and stabbed him. Found in Rell's hand. So I mean, we have a lot of evidence as to why he probably couldn't have shot him. However, I know, even though we do have an overwhelming amount of evidence, it feels like it's one of those Ace Attorney things where you can't get ahead of the case. You're supposed to prove each statement individually is wrong. So right now we're at a point where she's saying, we're talking about the instantaneous death. Talking about like the timing of the death right now, and I think that's what I need to prove. I mean, I think I know what it is. I just need to figure out what statement it is. Objection? I don't think that's right. What are you trying to say with this? I'm saying that this piece of evidence doesn't contradict with my testimony. Yarg! Miles Edverse, just face it, I'm going to win our little competition. I have to calm down and do a better job of finding a flaw in her logic. Whoops. Approximately 4. Discovered immediately after a gunshot was heard. That feels like that's what I'm trying to get at. Faraday died instantaneously from being stabbed. Rell died of a bullet wound. There's no gunpowder burn. I feel like the distance isn't really what's at odds here. It might be like a weird sort of parallel thinking thing where the idea is maybe based on the positions of the bodies. Mr. Faraday died after he shot Mr. Mr. Rell survived for a short time. Also, I realized I think I might have presented the wrong evidence. Oh no, I did think this. And then I thought this. It might be... I was thinking because these two pieces of evidence kind of contradict each other. So I think I'm like mixing them up. piece of evidence is the one I choose now. You dare try to bluff your way and present evidence, your disgrace. Could I have it all wrong? Those are the facts of this case. This is Franziska's theory, which compare her claim with the data I've gathered thus far. Where is my line of thinking wrong? Found in Faraday's hand. Bullet that killed Rel was fired from a few yards away. Could the idea be that since it was a few yards away, didn't steal the knife? On the brink of death, he stole the knife. What is this? This is all my evidence? I don't think this is relevant yet. This is gonna be when we have to prove that he wrote something with his left hand. So I think our main things here are this and this. What do we know about the knife? I believe Faraday brought this as evidence. It was found in Rel's hand. It's true. I'm wondering if, like, the distance... I'm wondering if the distance of the murder is relevant here. Obvious that Mr. Faraday died after he shot Mr. Rel. Bam, bam, bam. I'm trying to think how this makes sense with this. He shot him. It just sounds so dumb. It just sounds so dumb where it's like he shot him and then the guy, having been shot, walks over and grabs the knife and then stabs him and then they both fall down. Discovered immediately after a gunshot was heard. Mr. Rel survived for a short time. From this, it's obvious that Mr. Faraday died after he shot Mr. Rel. Mr. Rel, while on the brink of death, stole Mr. Faraday's knife and stabbed him. I really feel like it has to do with Gumshoe's statement and this. I think I presented both of these on this statement, right? Bam, 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 bam. Found in Faraday's hand, bullet that killed Rel was fired from a few yards away. I don't think we can contradict the distance here. Faraday died of a stab wound to the chest. The shock from the stabbing caused instantaneous death. Rel died of a bullet wound to the chest. There's no gunpowder burn on his clothes. A few yards away. It's possible he was alive for a little while after being shot. Whoops.
Objection!
No, that's what I thought. I'm actually stuck here. It's weird because it's not like a complex testimony.
Hold it!
And I pressed everything. So unless it's one of those press them all and then press something again.
Hold it!
Because they do that sometimes, where it's like, once you've heard all the information, you have to go back.
Hold it!
But it doesn't seem... Oh, did I miss this statement? Did I just not press this one? So, you believe the dying Mr. Rel stole the knife from Mr. Faraday? Mr. Rel became desperate as he did not want to die. Human beings can do amazing things when they are put to the test. So, the two men struggled, and in the end, Mr. Rel was able to grab the knife and stab Mr. Faraday. The messy condition of this room is a testament to that struggle. Yes, my logic is perfectly sound. Can you really say that it's perfect? What are you insinuating? Nothing. However, I can't let what you said slide by without further inquiry. One must be clear and precise. So if you could append that statement to your testimony. I guess I just didn't press this. Either I didn't press this or this was one of those press them all and then go back and press it. He struggled and the Mr. L used the last of his strength to counterattack Mr. Faraday. Huh. Shadow Spooky, welcome, welcome.
Hold it.
I spent like half an hour explaining the case. And then I got stuck on one thing. About this statement. Mr. L used all of his remaining strength to take the knife and defend himself. One can easily see that they had a violent struggle. Of course, it's nothing compared to what my riding crop can do. How does one compare the damage of her crop can do with the state of this room? Furthermore, all the plastic bags on the floor in this room were scattered there due to the fight. Is there anything else I can explain for you? No, that will be fine. Okay, this is the statement then. They struggled. I guess they didn't struggle. I guess that was literally all I needed to do was pull out the statement saying there was a struggle, and then I say,
Objection.
no, that's wrong. If the two men were fighting, so I was right about like where I'm supposed to be going, the direction I'm supposed to be going. I just completely missed pressing one statement. If the two men were fighting, their struggle would have surely caused quite a bit of noise. However, Detective Gumshoe testified that he heard absolutely nothing. Ha! You place too much faith in that detective's testimony, you know. He's a big dummy. But for the sake of argument, let's say there wasn't a fight. How, then, did Mr. L get his hands on the knife? Forget to change the TV frame. Oh, I did. I guess I did. Yeah, whoops. That's fine. I forgot to change the thing on the screen. Oh, no. Oh, no. What are we playing? We're playing, Ace Attorney Babies. That's the game. How then did Mr. L get his hands on the knife? Mr. Faraday's bag was sitting right here in lobby number 2. It is not hard to imagine that perhaps Mr. L saw a chance and took it out at some point. So, what you're saying is this. Mr. L took a chance when he saw the opportunity and took the knife from the bag. And then Mr. Faraday shot Mr. L after being stabbed? Isn't there something strange in Franziska's statement just now? Mr. L took a chance when he saw the opportunity and took the knife from the bag. His bag was just sitting there. Faraday. He took the knife and then Mr. Faraday shot Mr. L after being stabbed. I guess. Wait, something doesn't add up. Oh, really? It's simply not possible for Mr. Faraday to have shot Mr. L after being stabbed. They died instantaneously. According to the coroner's report, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously, meaning that he died immediately upon being stabbed by the knife. It's kind of weird because this is just retreading what she said. I mean, I guess we know there's a contradiction, but like we're just going back and forth on the same things. Ergo, he could not possibly have fired the gun after that. Oh, you got me. Ouch. Tisku. But of course. Well then, if the report is correct, then there is only one correct explanation. If we suppose that Mr. L attacked first, then Mr. Faraday, who died instantaneously, would have been unable to kill Mr. L. Therefore, Mr. L must have stabbed Mr. Faraday after he was shot. Then they both died. Eehee. She goes like, eehee, wink, shing, and the little thing shines. That is the only explanation that makes logical sense. Negating your opponent's ideas in order to prove your own theory. I see you've been studying, Franziska. I just wanted to explain it to you as simply as possible. I know that you're very dumb. You only have one brain cell. Excuse me, I'll have you know that I have 2 brain cells. That's how I use my mind palace to put 2 ideas together. Before you foolishly propose a foolish theory that only a foolish fool like you could. How naive of you to believe that only your opinions are valid, and still expect to discover the truth that the crime scene offers you. Franziska, you've still got a ways to go. I'm whipping the air because I don't have a bullwhip yet. What are you talking about? Are you saying there's a flaw in my logic? Mr. Faraday died instantly, and the fact that he did is what gives rise to the contradiction in this scene. The contradiction here in the crime scene is... I see. So the idea here is that, so if it's unlikely that he got shot and then stole the knife and then stabbed him and then they both died, or he took the knife first and then stabbed him and then got shot and then they both died. So that second one's like literally impossible. And the first one doesn't really make any sense because how would he have gotten the knife in the first place? The idea here is, the direction we're going is the bodies probably fell in a different order. Like what actually happened was they didn't actually murder each other. However, he still got stabbed first and then he got shot. And then someone put their bodies in this order, contradicting the evidence. I think that's the direction we're going. Contradiction here in the crime scene. Let me get this straight. What you are arguing is this. Mr. Faraday took the gun. Ah, don't point that at me! No, boo-boo. It's not loaded, don't worry. It's very scary. What? Guns aren't scary. Bang! Oops. Mr. Faraday took the gun from his evidence bag and shot Mr. Rel. Then, the wounded Mr. Rel found an opportunity to take the knife and strike back. Upon being stabbed, Mr. Faraday died on the spot and Mr. Rel died thereafter. If that's the case, then how do you explain this? Take a good look at the order in which their bodies are piled. Why are you giving her the accent? Because she's German. She's from Germany. She like lives in Germany. Oh. She only came here for like a year and then she went back to Germany and then she like occasionally comes back here. She's been like raised in it's actually kind of funny because she lives in Germany, but like Manfred von Karma lives in Japanifornia. So like I guess Manfred von Karma is probably divorced and she lives with her mom. No! Mr. Faraday's body is lying on top of Mr. Rel's. Therefore, Mr. Rel must have died before Mr. Faraday. Impossible! Yes, I agree. It seems strange no matter what angle you approach it from. Which means that the real mystery behind it— Objection! You didn't let me finish my thought! No, not so fast, Mr. Miles Edgeverse. You don't get to finish that thought. What now? I simply think that you ought to think a bit more outside the box. And that it's even clearer now that the incident started with Mr. Faraday's murderous intent. She sure bounced back quickly. An explanation won't be enough this time. It's going to take some very decisive evidence to prove her wrong. She's so angry in that photo. She's so like angry in the little verses thing where they go eye to eye, but she looks so happy in this sprite. It was just chance that Mr. Faraday's body fell on top of Mr. Rel's. The two bodies fell into a pile, which indicates that they attacked each other at the same time, which means they were probably very close to each other, which you definitely don't have evidence to prove otherwise. It really doesn't matter in the slightest that they fell in the opposite order. Ba-dum-bum-ba-da. I just know that Franziska's explanation isn't absolutely correct. All I have to do is find a hole in her logic again. Once I do, I can then present her with the evidence that proves the contradiction. Been waiting for the objection. That's all I know about the game. There are so I love when we get deep into a case and you get like 5 objections in a row. It's so fun to get the back and forth like that. Let's just chance it, Mr. Dave. At the same time, let me press this just in case. Hold it! What do you mean by they attacked each other at the same time? I assume Mr. Faraday had the 2 different weapons in his hands. He like came at him with a knife in one hand and a gun in the other. He has like both of them held up like, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna stab you or am I gonna shoot you? You don't know what I'm gonna do. He made to attack Mr. Elval holding both the knife and the revolver. And then, after Mr. Faraday fired the gun, Mr. L grabs the knife as he was falling and stabbed Mr. Faraday. That is how Mr. L wound up on the bottom with Mr. Faraday on top. At close range, that is more than possible. Yes, it's possible, but... Well, if you have any other ideas, then show me what you've got. Oh, I will. It's going to be very easy to prove you wrong. And to that extent, I'd like for you to append what you just said to your testimony. I don't see any point to that, but do as you please. They attacked each other at the same time from close range. Objection! Ha ha ha! I've been waiting for this one. So you believe they killed each other at close range? Sorry, but that's impossible. Just as it is written in the crime scene notes. The firing, don't point it at me! The firing of the handgun did not leave a gunpowder burn on Mr. Rell's clothes. Did you say revolver? Handgun, so we have handgun. Did she say did someone say revolver? Oh yeah, that's kind of funny. Weird. Give her a break, she's like 12. She's 13 and lives in Germany. She's not American. You think she knows what a gun is? Therefore, Mr. Rell and the gun must have been separated by a distance of at least 2 or 3 yards. Aha! Yes, this is by far the biggest contradiction. The 2 bodies are piled up on each other, yet the gun was fired from a distance. And with there being no chance that Mr. Rell moved that far after being shot, that leaves only one possible explanation. What a completely foolish line, a foolish thought from a foolishly foolish fool. If I'm not right, then who was it that made the first move with the intent to kill, huh? Who? The person that attacked first with the murderous intent, that would be... Here in this room, contradictions appear no matter which man we claim attacked first. Thus, there can only be one explanation. One, you see, I'm making the finger for one. There was a third person here. It was that third person who killed both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell, and set their bodies up to make it look like a double murder. That third person is the real culprit. Miles Edgeworth, there's just one thing you're missing. Evidence, correct? Exactly. Everything you've said up until now is nothing but a story played out in your head. However, this is where the real test begins. Can you prove that there was a third person involved in this crime? Of course. If a third person was truly here, that fact would resolve the glaring contradiction. The proof that this has all been a setup, made to look like they killed each other. I'll present it and lay bare the final piece of the puzzle that's not yet in place. What is the piece of evidence that proves there is a third person involved? I asked to myself. It's gotta be this, right? It's not the photo.
Take that!
Take that! I'm wrong! We're not there yet. We're not there yet. We're not at the part where we have to be like, he's left-handed. We're like 2 steps away. This is that very evidence. And how exactly is this related? It looks like you're still 2 steps away. I bet you think you've got it all figured out, do you? It appears that I've gotten ahead of the case. There is no need for an explanation. I'm incredibly smart. Oh, hey, remember Gumshoe's here? We have like 2 other people in the room right now, but they just don't exist.
The name's Detective Dick Gumshoe. Oh, well, I have no idea how it's related, so could you please explain it to me?
Yes, well, let me guess. You can't explain it, can you? Who is that? Oh no! It's our beloved Detective Dick Gumshoe. It's Edgeworth's weird girl partner. Every Ace Attorney game, your assistant is like a quirky 18-year-old girl. But in this game, I mean, I guess we do have Kay Faraday, but in this game, one of our quirky weird girl assistants is her. But in this game, it's this like 35-year-old man. He's 26 right now, but in the future, he's like 35.
I just need to go over the evidence and my thoughts once again. What is the piece of evidence that proves there's a third person involved?
It's probably the bags, right?
Take that!
Take that! Ah, you're pointing at me again!
Oh man, there's so much. There's so much for you to get caught up on. Here's the thing. This is a spin-off of the main Ace Attorney series. So before this, there were 3 or 4 other Ace Attorney games featuring a different character. And then this is the first of 2 Ace Attorney games featuring Miles Edgeworth. So like we have this cast of characters already built up. Manfred von Karma, we know who he is. We know who the judge is. We know who Dick Gumshoe is. We know who Franziska is. And then like also in addition to that, this is the 4th case of the game. We're like 80% of the way through the game. And if you're just getting here now, there's so much. Oh my God, there's so much. You should have seen the last case. The last case where we were in Disneyland with the worst, most terrifying mascots ever. And that was a big bowl of nonsense. Yeah, I don't know how to like sum up everything that you need to know. Detective Dick Gumshoe is a great guy. He's just a detective that shows up all the time. Anyway,
the gun in Mr. Faraday's hand and the plastic bag with his blood on it. These 2 items point to the presence of a third person.
how so?
Recall Detective Gumshoe's testimony. I was in the hole.
No, wait, this is like Edgeworth imagining what he sounds like. So he's like,
I was in the hallway the whole time, but I didn't hear a single peep of the struggle. Is that what you think I sound like, Mr. Edgeworth? Don't worry about it, Mr. Dick Gumshoe. Then there shouldn't be any plastic bags on the ground, meaning that someone else must have deliberately scattered them around. Tisku. Do you not see the possibility in this? Disregarding the gun for a moment, there's a high probability of blood splatter when a knife is used on a person. If the culprit held the knife with a plastic bag around it, they could use the bag to catch any blood splatter from when they withdrew the knife.
I didn't think about that. I mean, obviously this was sus. I wasn't sure how this was used because like the thing is the blood's on the inside, right? I had a theory, like this isn't a real theory, but like in my head, I sort of had a theory that maybe the knife in the evidence bag, the knife was like, I don't know. I actually don't know. I was trying to think of how, because it wasn't clear whether the blood was on the inside or the outside. So maybe if the knife was in the evidence bag, then they used it to stab him while it was still in the bag. But that doesn't really make any sense. I don't think there's any way for you to stab someone without piercing the bag. So I guess that makes a lot more sense. So they used the bag to hold the knife. and then the blood splatter got all over the knife. So we wouldn't be able to tell who the murderer was because they wouldn't have gotten any blood on their clothes. That's the idea. So this proves the possibility of a third person.
Then, by spreading a few more plastic bags around, mixing the bloody one in with them, and arranging the room to make it look like there was a struggle between the two, they were able to conceal their presence.
Ah! Yay! Do you think a real detective can? I mean, we have two detectives here. Here's the thing. In the Ace Attorney universe, everybody has the IQ of a peanut. Everybody in the Ace Attorney universe is really dumb, except for the attorneys, but that's actually a lie because the attorneys are also kind of dumb. If everybody else in the Ace Attorney universe has an IQ of 5, the lawyers all have an IQ of 6. An IRL detective? I mean, I guess it depends on how the case goes, but I feel like they would have figured out by now that there was probably a third party and that this was set up. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm giving too much credence to the police. I'd missed a line.
Looks like we still got a long way to go in this investigation. Yes. Yes.
Oh, hello. Oh my god, I forgot she was here. Objection. That's our first time hearing her objection sound.
What the heck is up with you, pal?
Mr. Bad, I advise you to place Detective Gumshoe under arrest.
What?
It's obvious. She definitely did it. She 100% did it. She definitely did it. Also, I forgot how good her theme song is.
What? What's the meaning of this?
Ha! Looks like you're not man enough to discipline your own subordinates.
Don't you dare.
That detective claims he was there, standing in front of the door the entire time. But I have it on good authority that it why is the judge here? This is like the only time we've ever seen the judge's legs. You can barely hear anything. I mean, whoop. That's probably better. It doesn't need to be that loud. Whoops, click back.
Miss Yu, I ask that you please explain that last statement.
I'll let his honor. Oh my god. Are we really gonna talk? Is this the first time we're ever talking to the judge outside of the court? I guess we're technically in the courthouse.
I saw it with my own eyes, I tell you. During the recess, there was a period of time when there was no one in the hallway. What?
See, Mr. Bad? So I ask you, why would a detective who was supposedly doing his job the whole time want to fabricate such a lie?
Gumshoe, did you kill Faraday? No! Of course not, sir!
It would appear that the one who sets this whole crime scene up is that detective. I always knew he was actually a genius. Which basically renders his testimony a complete lie and wholly invalid. Which means I win. It looks like your perfect logic has just come tumbling down, Miles.
I was at the hallway the whole time. Was that statement really a lie? Detective Gumshoe, you're now a suspect in the murder of 2 men. Now spit out the truth, or so help me. I haven't lied to anyone, sir. Honest. I really was there. I was in the hallway the whole time.
Hold it!
Hold it! Detective Bad, I ask that you please do not act without my permission. After all, I am the one that is heading up this investigation, am I not? And you wouldn't be mean to a 17-year-old boy, would you? I'm just a little guy. You wouldn't disobey a little guy on his birthday, would you? Don't talk like you know what's going on, little boy. Tisku, tisku, tisku. All I want is for this investigation to run perfectly. Perfection is the only wish of a disciple of Von Kamm, after all. Therefore, before you take Detective Gumshoe into custody, I'd like to set the record straight on something. And what's that? What should I ask Detective Gumshoe about?
You cannot tell me this guy's 17. I think he's like 18 here. His first case, he's either 17 or 18. They kind of aged him down. So in the original games, and also in this game, other than this case, in the future, in the modern day, he's like 25 or 26 or something. And yeah, I think a lot of people thought he was a lot older. They like kind of aged him down. It's hard to like get a good shot of his face. They kind of aged him down, but not that much, because it's based on his adult sprite. So he definitely looks a lot older. Also, like, the ages in this game are so whack. Like, Gumshoe looks the same as he does in the future when he's like 35, and he looks, I feel like he looks older than 35 even then. What do we have? Franziska's 13 here. They did kind of age her down, but I don't think, it feels like they didn't age her down that much. So she goes from 13 to 18. This guy's 53. This guy's like the only guy that feels like his age is probably correct. He's 40. I guess these guys, it's really just the main characters mostly. It's so weird. What am I doing? Set the record straight. Why would he, what motive would he have? I suppose the one thing I'd like clarified is Detective Gumshoe's motive for committing this crime. Motive, huh? Gumshoe. Gumshoe! He's so angry.
Gumshoe, you got a grudge against Faraday or anything? No, sir, not me. Not a single bad thing against Mr. Faraday, sir. I don't have enough brain cells to hold a grudge. Is that a fact?
Objection! You really have a problem with lying, don't you, Detective Gumshoe?
I'm telling you, I am not lying! Does this look like the face of someone who would lie? He's gotta go!
The more natural you act, the more sus you become, you know.
Why did you say that? What do you mean sus?
If you want a motive, Edgeworth, I have one for you right here.
Could you please share it with us? However, be forewarned that I won't hesitate to object to flights of fancy, because all I'm interested in is the perfect explanation.
You're serious, aren't you? Fine. You amuse me, so I'll humor you with a little courtroom practice. Oh my god, we're finally fighting her. This is like the first time we're actually fighting her. Also, I didn't notice, I love her, like, red dress shirt. That looks really good with her blue jacket. Oh my god. It was about a week ago. I saw the detective get chewed out by a livid Faraday in front of the precinct. He stood there super pale as Mr. Faraday yelled, "That's a salary cut for you, you nitwit!" A brand new detective suddenly getting his salary cut. That's reason enough for a grudge. Well, how's that for the perfect explanation?
You totally misunderstand me, pal. No matter how mad I get, I could never hold a grudge. I'll kill you. I'll kill you. No, detective, please calm down. Quiet. We can't trust anything you say. Sir? There's nothing wrong with the motive she proposed per se. However, this man has eyes suspiciously like that of a small baby puppy, and I must protect him with I must protect this 25-year-old man with my life. But there are some gaps in her logic that need to be filled in. Misused perfect explanation may not be so perfect at all.
What is our explanation? Because I did not hold any of that. From the precinct, stood there super pale. That's a salary cut for you. Edgeworth would never do something like that. This reason enough for a grudge. I guess this is a press-em-all.
Hold it!
This feels like a press-em-all.
A week ago, then you and Detective Gumshoe are acquaintances?
No way. I only met him in person today.
Then how did you know about Detective Gumshoe?
Oh, I've seen him around before. Oh, that's it.
Hold it!
I've seen him around, like in my next statement.
Mr. Faraday was upset?
Yeah, you know what else? Mr. Faraday isn't exactly known to get angry often. There he was. And the offending detective just stood there, pale as a ghost, like he was about to die. Then, like the face he's making now, right?
I'm completely innocent, I tell you, and I'm about to die!
Why? It's so weird that they made her. Why is she the same height as him? I think they like zoomed in on her sprite because her head looks really big in this image. She's like weirdly zoomed in so she's the same height as Gumshoe even though she's like 13.
The poor man.
It was quite the scene with the detective.
Hold it! Stop laughing! You look crazy. You just stood there watching this unfold in front of you? That's what a crazy person would do. Guilty.
Yeah, I have to say it was really enjoyable too. But that's why when I saw Detective Gumshoe earlier, I knew I had to steer clear of him.
No way! I thought it was because I had something stuck on my face!
You too!
Huh? What have I got stuck on my face?
Let's start with your eyes, nose, mouth, and those ridiculous eyebrows.
Huh? What? Eyebrows? I don't see anything. Do you see anything, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm trying to look at my eyebrows, but I don't have any.
Oh man, messing with your head is just too much fun.
Miss you, if you don't mind, I'd like you to return to your testimony now. Stop laughing in the middle of your testimony. We're in the middle of a courtroom.
Sure, why not? I ran into
Hold it! To cut a new detective's salary right off the back like that.
I'm not really familiar with the way you guys relate, but is that a common practice? Oh, more than you know.
Speaking of cutting my salary, didn't you threaten to do that to me earlier too, pal? I'll kill you! I suppose I did.
It's only natural to cut a verseless detective's salary down to their actual verse. How many times do you think he got his he's gotten his salary cut like 20 times over the course of this series? Like how many times can you cut that in half before it's nothing? My father can even fire anyone, new or old, with a snap of his fingers. It makes a cha-ching sound. Vegas, baby. Is it enough for detectives to hate you people?
Well, I guess they really shouldn't cut people's pay. Detective Bad, don't tell me Mr. Von Karma cut your salary earlier.
Well, how's that?
Hold it! You call your explanation perfect?
Is it not to your liking?
Tisku, tisku, tisku. Unfortunately for you, it's just not up to my standards.
Oh, is there something you want me to clarify in that case?
What should I do? Should I raise an objection?
I guess. There's so many moments like this in the series where they're like, you get to a point where you're not going anywhere, and then on a random statement they'll be like, oh man, I don't know what to do. Should I raise an objection, or should I just keep going in circles and not progress the game?
All right, if you could clear this one thing up for me.
Motive for killing Mr. L. Faraday and Gumshoe's relation. How Mr. Faraday was killed. That doesn't really matter, does it? Would that tell us anything about whether or not Gumshoe could have done it? Probably not. Motive for killing Mr. Rel. I guess.
I understand Detective Gumshoe's potential motive for killing Mr. Faraday. However, what about his motive for killing Mr. Rel?
His motive for killing Rel? Like I would know.
If there was no clear motive for both of the murders, then I doubt this incident would have occurred. Wouldn't you agree?
She definitely did it. There's no way she's not the real murderer.
Is there anyone else who might have had a grudge against either of the two men? Perhaps a person with direct relation to a previous murder that's directly connected to this case? Or should we look into that ourselves?
Oh, in that case, I have absolutely no idea.
What? What? But that's impossible. She must know something.
Can you please not glare at me like that? It makes me laugh.
I didn't even do anything and you're already laughing anyway.
Well, anyway, the way I see it, as long as he had a motive to kill one of the two, this crime would have played out the way it did anyway.
Oh, would you care to explain your logic? Disco, disco, disco. And this time, please try to provide a truly perfect explanation.
Just perfect that. Something. Is that a requisite trait for being karma? Miles Edgeworth, stop her from laughing. Why are you doing this? Stop being weird. It's creeping me out. I demand that you shut this rude woman up. I say to a 25-year-old adult. 22-year-old adult. I am very mature.
I wish you'd both be quiet for just 1 second. My God. Women, am I right? 18-year-old Miles Edgeworth is very misogynist.
Oh well. I guess I'll just have to explain it to you kids. Oh, that was just it. Literally just to press them all. Here we go. Here's the real argument. There's no one out there with a motive to kill both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rel. All you really have to establish is that someone had a grudge against one of the two men. Mr. Rel, who happened to be there, became a witness to Mr. Faraday's murder. Therefore, he was killed out of necessity and set up to look like they'd kill each other.
I wonder if that's really true. Is there no one out there with a grudge against both men? Is there no piece of evidence that proves any relation between them and everybody involved in this case? I should take another hard look at the evidence for this morning's case. The second KG8 incident, as people are calling it, involving an embassy staff member, and the two men who both wound up as suspects in the case. Is there someone else I'm overlooking who is somehow related to them?
Somehow! We're finally we're finally like at the actual meat and potatoes. Okay, let's give this a press first.
Hold it! So, there is no one else who might have had a grudge against both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rel?
Also, we didn't get like new evidence, right? It's just the original KG8 incident. It's just this one. I suppose no one is a bit of a stretch, but I'm pretty sure no one like that was here in this courthouse today.
She's lying through her teeth. We just saw someone like that here earlier.
Besides, you don't need to prove that the killer had a grudge against both men. Okay, it's literally as obvious as it seems.
Objection! It turns out it was as obvious as I thought. Miss Yu, I believe there is someone you overlooked in your statement.
Saying the same thing sometimes. It's because of the way the game is set up. So basically the way Ace Attorney games work when you're in court, they go, okay, here is a series of statements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is my testimony. There's no one other than and then you go in, and then they give you a chance to examine each statement separately. So like you look at the statements again, and you ask them to basically explain more about each separate statement. And sometimes it ends up overlapping with stuff, so they end up saying a lot of the same things. And also, they have to hint you in the right direction sometimes. Sometimes they want to point something out so you know which direction you want to go. What do you mean? You didn't read your line out loud.
Well, excuse me, princess. We're looking for someone with a reason to kill both Mr. Faraday and Mr. L. I can think of at least one person that fits the bill. He was the suspect in the original KG8 incident.
Oh, he was the suspect. I wasn't sure if he was actually... I think I just forgot that they actually said he was a suspect. Because he's just there. I didn't remember if they actually said he is the suspect. But yeah, he's obviously the bad guy of that.
Member of the Kodopian Embassy, Manny Kochin.
Remember when this guy walked in?
That's right. The very man who came to visit you earlier out in the hallway. The man who killed a member of the Kodopian Embassy staff, Mr. Rel, and the man who was the lead prosecutor of the KG8 incident, Mr. Faraday. Are you telling me that Mr. Kochin has no reason at all to kill both of these men?
Well, I suppose he might have a reason or two.
You covered for me, pal! I'm gonna be in debt to you for the rest of my life. Maybe you're not such a bad guy after all. Maybe, in the future, in 7 years from now, I'm gonna be your best friend for life. Don't get ahead of yourself. I would never be your best friend for life. You're still a suspect, make no mistake about that. The perfect evidence, the perfect testimony, these are the only things I wish to hold. But I didn't do it! You will stay under my authority and go investigate Mr. Manny Kochin for me. And remember, I will not be very forgiving. Hold it! Hold it! You want to investigate Kochin? You'd just be wasting your time. And why is that? Kochin was up in the viewing gallery, watching the trial. Or so I was told. Every cop in this place has been keeping an eye on the guy since he arrived.
Then the only real suspect we have is still Detective Gumshoe. I love Detective Bad's theme song. This is such a jam. It's funny because you can also tell this was definitely composed for the DS. Ooh, listen to the guitar go. Then the only real suspect we have is Gumshoe.
I suppose so. No way! Come on, Detective Bad! You gotta believe me, sir! I really was in that hallway the whole time, sir. I never took a single step into this room, sir. Okay, then. Are you saying there was someone else who passed through the hallway? No. There was no one else, sir. Then why should I believe you didn't do it?
That is one incredibly foolish detective. Standing right in front of a crime scene all by himself. It's as good as a confession of guilt.
I have to admit, it's a bit strange. Most criminals will fabricate some sort of lie to escape their crimes. And if that detective really wanted to prove that he is innocent, you'd think he would at the very least offer up, "I spaced out while on duty," or the like. Come on, Gumshoe. Time for your interrogation. Oh, Detective Bad. Oh, you peep, why is everybody so mean to me?
It's that one meme image. You know that one meme image that's like, why is everybody so mean to me? And it's like a naked guy in the shower, and then they edited his butt to be really big.
Miles Edgeworth, I will go on ahead and report this to Papa.
And that, as they say, is that. Right, everyone? Ho, 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 ho. That was very fun. Anyway, get back to the trial. Back to the trial.
Well, I suppose we should both be getting back to our real jobs now, huh?
Before we do, Miss Yu, there is something I'd like to speak with you about. What is it?
Bum, bum, bling, dum, bum, bum.
Why did we slide over? Did we slide over to the TV? We're just gonna leave her laughing. She's gonna be sitting there for a while. Television is blah, 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 blah. I think this is all the same. I think this is all the same.
So, what did you want to ask me about?
I want to present my badge!
It is a shame that we will not be able to face each other. It was to be my first trial, too.
Oh, was that a declaration of war?
How? I think this is the same.
Squeaky clean.
Yeah, this is all the same. Oh my god. My nose is so stuffy. Ugh. I have a duffy nose. Okay, tell me about the KG8.
The current case of the murdered Kodopian embassy staff member. I've heard that people have begun calling it the second KG8 incident.
Only
Among Us!
Only among you law enforcement types. And what about it?
I'd like for you to tell me everything you know about the original KG8 incident.
I'm afraid I can't help you. I don't know anything beyond what was reported in the papers.
No, I believe you know much more, since you are directly tied to the KG8 incident.
I'd appreciate it if you'd stop with the false accusations. Baseless outbursts are useless both inside and outside the courtroom, don't you know?
Oh, I assure you, my outbursts are actually quite based.
I think that's one of my favorite things in Ace Attorney. Wait, let me show you this. Let me show you this. One of my favorite things about Ace Attorney is that there are so many good screenshots you can get of really funny lines that are amazing out of context. This one's one of my favorites. Let me show you this one. Let me show you this one. Oh, I assure you, it's quite based. And you know what the best part about this is? This was written in like, when was this written? This was like 2005 or something? 2006? I don't know. Somewhere around that time. Like before based actually became a slang word. they actually had this line in an Ace Attorney game, which is hilarious because now we just get the screenshot for free and you get to use it to respond to people on Twitter. I assure you, it's actually quite based. And it's funny because that happens with Ace Attorney sometimes. The thing is, it's not supposed to be used the same way. It's because he's responding to someone say, that's a baseless conjecture. And he says that it's actually quite based. So it's the same thing that I did here. Baseless outbursts. There's another one. So there's another line in one of the other Ace Attorney games where someone mentions the Harlem Shake. But like, the Harlem Shake was a dance before it became a meme in 2012. So like that's what it was originally a reference to. But then like the meme happened, and now if you look at the screenshot, it just looks like they're referencing a meme, even though the game came out before that. And I think my favorite part about that is Ace Attorney takes place in the future, and the time that line happens takes place like a year before I think like a year after the Harlem Shake became a meme in real life. So like chronologically, canonically, the Harlem Shake could be a meme in the Ace Attorney universe at the same time as it was in real life. I think that's one of my favorite things.
I do, but I also know that I do have a leg to stand on here. In fact, I have two.
You can stop making that ultra serious face in front of me.
If you could please stop laughing for just 1 second. I'm not going to make any headway like this. I'm just going to have to show her exactly how related to the KG incident she is.
She's just gonna sit here for like 5 minutes. Bing bong bang bong. Anyway, this is evidence.
Miss Yu, I believe that I have proof of your connection to the KG8 incident.
That file is your proof? Very well then. Why don't you tell me exactly how I'm related to the KG8 incident?
Would you mind pinpointing it using the mouse? This one.
Your connection to the KG8 incident is through the victim. The victim's name is CCU. You will note that she has the same last name as you. Can you really still tell me with a straight face that you are not related to this case?
Sorry, but we're not related.
She just coincidentally has the exact same name. She like kind of has the same face.
What?
Just kidding. Oh, good.
You asked that question with such a serious look on your face.
I couldn't help but.
Merg! Miss Yu, I ask that you please tell me the truth.
All right, I'll tell you everything I know.
Bing bong.
As you guessed, the one who reported the smuggling activities of the Amano group. That was my sister, CCU.
As I thought.
And she was killed right before she was to testify at the impending trial. By Manny Cochin. But because he was tried once
And was acquitted, he gets double jeopardy? So double jeopardy is a thing. I don't think it works this way in real life, but in the Ace Attorney universe, if you ever get acquitted for a crime, you're free to go for the rest of your life and they can never retry you. Which is insane. I'm pretty sure in real life they can like overturn it if they find new evidence. But like, if you get tried once and get acquitted, you're free for the rest of your life, even if they can prove you really are the murderer after the fact. Double jeopardy?
All because of a lack of evidence.
No, I heard that the evidence to convict him did exist.
What?
I heard it from Mr. Faraday himself after Mr. Cochin's trial was over. Apparently, a man in black made off with the most important piece of evidence.
Then the evidence had been tampered with?
A man in black? You mean Shelly the Killer? Oh, it could be the Yatagarasu. Or a fake Yatagarasu.
Isn't it just like a criminal to do something like that? The smuggling ring being run out of the Amana group by one of its secretaries. They bailed Mr. Cochin out. Turns out they were in league with each other all along.
How big was that smuggling ring? Was it a large operation?
I don't really know. Which is why I wanted to become the lead defense. On this case, the people are calling the second KG8 incident. But I haven't learned anything new at all. I was probably expecting too much, I know.
You mean you think this case has nothing to do with the smuggling ring?
I don't know what to think.
Why did Mr. Cochin want to meet with you earlier?
Actually, he came to watch the trial. Apparently, he only found out that I was the defense lawyer on this case after he'd arrived. He figured he should say hi and one other thing. Looks like you couldn't resolve anything this time either. Too bad.
Oh my god. He's so evil.
What's that supposed to mean?
Boy, stop it with the scary face already. Like, really, I gave him a good slap across the face.
The way she talks about slapping him as she laughs away is kind of creepy.
But it's just as Mr. Bat said. He's not related to the double murder. I asked around and people in the gallery claimed that he was in his seat the entire time. Talk about a cruel fate. Well, this is about all I know. Sorry. Guess I wasn't much help, huh?
That's not true. I'm sorry I made you recall such a painful time in your life.
Really aren't too serious for your own good.
You really need to learn to relax. We wouldn't want you to die of stress. We wouldn't want you to get murdered of stress, would we?
That's a very weird way of saying it, but I suppose I agree. I work in my own way, and I will catch this criminal in my own way as well. You'll see.
You game face are ready to go.
I'm making no such. Look, I'm trying to be nice to you.
Did you know? There's the best medicine, Edward.
Don't you get tired of making such a serious face all the time?
I'm charged with making sure that all the criminals of this world. It is my responsibility to make sure that every single person that walks into this courthouse is found guilty of murder and goes to prison forever because everybody is a criminal. I have no need for laughter.
There you go, making that face again. Oh well. I've got to get going. I still have a few loose ends I need to tie up.
Wait, are we not resolving this case?
The KG8 incident and this murder investigation. It is my belief that these two cases are related to each other somehow. Plus that Detective Gumshoe. It's obvious he's lying, even though the lie is hurting his chance.
Oh, wait, no. I forgot that we do have to resolve the case because we have to save Gumshoe.
Clearly, this case is far from over. I bet you thought we were done with this case, because it seemed that everybody was resolving their stories for now. However, there is one more thing. Something can only be determined once I've completed my perfect investigation. Mr. Von Karma, I swear to uphold your honorable name, or my name isn't Miles Edgeworth Ace Attorney Investigations Collection 1. To make it to you.
Oh my god, we made it. Save. Oh my god, we made it to be continued. We still have a little bit of time left. Oh boy.
Onward toward the truth.
Here we go. Oh my. What are you doing? Oh my god. What are these police officers doing? What are you doing over here? What are you doing? Why are you like, stop playing with that. These are adult men in charge of a murder investigation, by the way.
Look at me. Oh, I'm looking at this model.
This is why I always give them, the Kermit the Frog voice.
Sir, what is to become of the trial into the Cadopian Embassy staff member's murder? Indeed, since...
I have to like get back into his voice.
Objection. Indeed, since both the suspect and the prosecutor are now dead. The case will be dismissed. In other words, the trial ends here prematurely.
Ha! Looks like you'll have to wait just a little bit longer on your big VTuber debut.
I suppose it can't be helped. Shogunai.
Did you know that we live in Japan? You know how sometimes like anime characters will say it can't be helped or something like that? Did you know that's actually a Japanese phrase that they use all the time? Shoganai ne or shikataganai. Oops.
The evidence for this trial will be transferred to you in a little while. Sir, what do you think about the murder of the Cadopian Embassy staff member? And the murders of Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell? What an outrageous circus it has all become. That Faraday brought it all upon himself is his naivete. An outrageous circus? That could never be a case, right, sir? I grow weary of this topic. Edgevas, I will have you assigned to a different case. Perhaps I will assign you to the case against Maya Fey. That happened in the third game.
Papa, you'll come and watch my courtroom debut next, won't you?
I don't really care about you. Sir, if I may, please allow me to continue with my investigation. Whatever for? I know that there is already a suspect in the murder of Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell. However, there is not enough...
I have to cough.
However, there is not enough evidence to prove that it was he who committed the crime.
I was gone, what happened? We hit to be continued! What happened? I mean, we proved the possibility of a third person, and then someone came in and was like, Gumshoe wasn't actually at his post, so it was probably him. And then he got taken away, and then we were like, oh well. And then we sort of talked about how CCU is connected to Callisto U, and Manny Cochin probably definitely for sure did murder CCU, but apparently in the previous KG8 incident, he was proven innocent, which means due to double jeopardy, he just gets to go free even though he's obviously a murderer. I mean, not much. We just hit a to be continued, and then we're continuing the rest of this case.
The perfect proof? Don't make me laugh. A worthless person like you has no right to claim such a thing as perfection.
Papa, what about me? I did good on this case too, didn't I? Who do you think is the real culprit behind these murders? You're very smart, right? So you have the correct answer. Miles and I, they're competing to see who can find the real killer first. I'm in the lead. Plus, being able to investigate a real crime scene is a really rare opportunity. It would give us some real-life experience, wouldn't you agree? Are you proud of me, Papa?
I hate you. If you want to investigate this case that much, do as you wish. Then you're allowing us to continue? In court, your top priority is to win. The solid investigation is one of the keys to winning. We have to make sure you become recognized as a first-rate prosecutor, don't we? It wouldn't be very interesting otherwise. I'm returning home now. Goodbye. Take the bus home. I'm not picking you up. Edgeworth, Franziska, see to it I'm not disturbed. Save the results for your competition. Yes, sir.
Of course, Papa. Don't worry, I already brought bus money. I scrounged some cash from in between the sofa because you don't give me an allowance, Papa. I found my own money. Are you proud of me?
Franziska, thank you.
What are you thanking me for? Your logic earlier was built on that scruffy detective's lie. That means that the competition is still on. I win.
Yes, just as you wished.
I couldn't let you get off so easily. Now then, let's see how well you fare on the investigation from here, Miles Edgeworth.
I know I don't have enough information yet. So my first order of business will be to get these police officers to stop playing around like children. Oh, yeah, this is fun. I like the water. Oh, I wonder what this does.
Yeah, they represent Germans by having them be really angry and antagonistic to everyone they talk to. First of all,
I can't stop the water, sir! It seems that the man who was here earlier broke it by drinking from it too much.
Bunch of fools who pretended not to see the foolishly foolish actions of a foolish fool. Baka 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 baka.
Well then, why don't you lend the officer a hand?
As if I should have anything to do with this. Besides, that water-drinking fool's mouth is the thing the officer should be covering. Let's give that officer a description of the water guzzler later.
She seems to have quite the grudge. It sounds to me like someone wanted a drink.
as a fellow German, they're 87% on the mark. Yeah. I mean, it's so funny. I think I mentioned this a lot, but the funny thing about these games is in the Japanese version, the games take place in Japan, and all the foreign characters, like Franziska von Karma and Manfred von Karma, and most of the other characters that are, like, also Clavier and Christoph Gavin are, I think, are also supposed to be German in the English version, but in the Japanese version, all the foreigners are from America. All the foreign characters in the original version of the game are from America, and then in the English version, the games take place in California, but like there's still so much Japanese influence, so that's why a lot of people say it's Japanifornia. And they were like, well, they can't be American now, they still have to be foreign, so they just made them German. Who do we talk to? Probably Gumshoe.
It wasn't me, I tell ya! I didn't do anything wrong! Yes, I understand. Let's calm down, okay, buddy? I doubt I'll get anything useful from the detective while he's this agitated. I should sing him a bedtime song so he calms down.
Let me through here. Oh my god, we can actually go into the courtroom? Isn't that insane? And we can't go back to this room. This woman is blocking my way. Oh, hey.
Look at me! I'm the judge now! Guilty, guilty, guilty!
This must be the judge's desk. You can tell by the gavel sitting on top.
I had a dream once that I was being squashed from above by this gavel.
You're such a weakling, Miles Edgeworth.
You have no idea how frightening it was. It was like he was a super mega judge. It's me, super mega judge, here to destroy you. The judge's chair must be wonderful to be able to sit the whole time.
Yes, as opposed to us prosecutors and defense attorneys who have to stand. I think it'd only be fair if the judge had to stand the whole time too.
His Honor's an old man, and he's very weak. He should be afforded some comforts.
Fine, he can enjoy his chair, but he'll share in our pain through my lashes.
I fear for the judge if Franziska were to ever become a real prosecutor.
It's crazy that they actually allow her to bring a weapon into the courtroom. What What thing am I like? There it is.
It's the viewing gallery. This is where the riffraff sit when they come to watch.
It's situated at the same height as the judge's bench. I wonder if that's to represent the intense scrutiny of each and every case from all sides.
Miles Edgeverse, are you or are you not man enough to stand up to all those eyes?
What sort of course I'm man enough. I'm already 18. Don't be mean to me, little child.
I can't look at this. What is this? What is this supposed to be? This isn't like a real... Because I think normally... The court setup is so weird. It's so funny because there's like no jury in these games. It's just the defense and the prosecution and then the gallery and then the judge. I don't think I've ever seen this. I don't think this exists. It's the bailiff's desks. I don't think they've ever shown this. I'm pretty sure when you go in the wide shots in the main series, I don't think there's ever a desk here.
It's the witness stand.
I'll make sure that each and every person that ever stands here will be found guilty.
There are others besides the defendant that stand at this podium, you know.
I don't care. Just make sure you never end up standing at one of these, or you'll be sorry.
I'll keep that in mind. I promise to never end up behind the defendant's chair.
Any day now, I'll be taking my rightful place behind this bench.
By that time, I should already be standing here.
It'd be downright disgraceful if I beat you to it, wouldn't it?
If that were to happen, Franziska, I'll eat my cravat. And I've already made sure to cover it in tasty chocolate, so that even if you win, I'll have a treat. Mr. Manfred von
Oh my god, please let me go around this.
Mr. von Karma never allows me to have a treat, so I made one myself. It's the defense attorney's bench. I'd probably be standing on this side of the courtroom if that incident hadn't happened.
Womp womp, flashback.
What are you thinking about? Lately, the more wrinkly your face becomes, the less I'm able to read what you're thinking.
I'll have you know I don't have a single wrinkle upon my youthful brow.
Oh! I got an Achievo. I examined all the things. Wait, is there really nothing in this room? Why am I allowed to go here? You let me through.
I have a tummy ache. What's the matter, officer? I've been standing here forever, sir, and I really need to go to the bathroom. Why don't you just make a quick trip? The nearest one isn't that far, is it? No, it's a short way down the hall beyond these doors, but I don't want to be blamed for anything that might happen while I'm gone. So I'm gonna hold it. Perhaps Detective Gumshoe can be a positive influence on the force after all. Let me through! No!
If I'm not authorized personnel, then what, may I ask, do you think I am?
The younger sibling of a dysfunctional relationship? You look like you have a very complicated adopted sibling relationship. I think I can get you in touch with a counselor that would help with that.
No! We must resolve this through anime logic and plot. It's not going to happen until 7 years from now. I'm not the younger one. He is. Now get that straight in your head.
I believe there is a more objectionable part you should be upset over, Franziska.
Why is nobody... You let me through.
Miss you.
Oh, it's you, Edgeworth. And who is this little baby? Wait, you were at the crime scene just now, weren't you?
You should be disbarred for not knowing who I am. I am Franziska von Karma, and I'm about to become the successor to the family name.
About to? I guess that means for now you're still just another kid. In which case, it's only natural that I didn't know who you are.
Why are you whipping me?
Mr. Miles Edgeworth, I'm about to cry!
Anyway, it looks like they're planning to hold the evidence a bit longer. If there's one thing I can't stand, it's waiting.
I'm terribly sorry, but I have a few more questions to ask of you.
Look at you! I have scratched the lines on your forehead. That ask
What exactly is so funny?
Sorry, I just found it dealing with a super serious atmosphere.
Apparently, they failed to teach you proper behavior at the crime scene in law school.
I feel much better now. So, what is it you want to talk about?
I'd like to inquire as to where you were at the time of the murder.
We were in the defendant lobby number 1 the whole time up until we heard the gunshot.
I think that's the real scene of the crime. Look, there are windows that go outside to the courtyard that connect to lobby number 2, where the window is.
And by we, I mean Mr. Bad. If you don't believe me, feel free to ask him yourself.
You were with Detective Bad? Why?
We had a little something to discuss, that's all.
So, I take it that you were acquaintances with Detective Bad?
Yeah, he was detective in charge of the KG8 incident.
Detective Bad is also related to that incident?
That's right. He was the one who was supposed to protect my sister, Cece, and now I'm going to get my revenge on him by murdering him. But you know how that turned out, don't you, Edgeworth? Miles Edgeworth, I have no idea what you two are talking about. Tell me about everything. Stop leaving me out. I'm the third person in this conversation. Do you hear a sound right now? It sounds like a little buzzing mosquito. I've heard of the KG8 incident from my papa. But how does that case relate to you, Miss Yu? I didn't go through that conversation like you and Mr. Miles Edgeworth did. The victim of that case, CCU, was my little sister. I'm also a little sister. Are you saying that I might be murdered for being a little sister? You're making that very serious face again. I'm fine, really. I can't wait to rub some more salt in the wounded pride every time I see you.
The way she talks about doing that as she laughs away is kind of creepy.
Oh, speaking of Mr. Bad, he and Mr. Faraday. I'd say they met up at about every single time the Yatagara Sioux made a move. It was practically a given that the two would meet up at every one of the crime scenes.
I see. He did mention that he is in charge of the Yatagara Sioux investigation earlier. Maybe I should ask her about what she knows about the Yatagara Sioux in more detail. Tell me about the murder. You claim that at the time of the murder, you were with Detective Bad.
But don't you lawyers usually discuss the trial with your clients during the recess? We do, and that's what I was planning to do. But Mr. Faraday was being rather threatening, and he dragged Mr. Rell away. After that, Mr. Bad came into lobby number 1, so we just stayed there and talked.
And what did you talk with Detective Bad about?
Interesting. I just insulted him some. That's what I'm trying to say. I insulted him some more.
Bloody!
Whoops, I hit autoplay. Anyway, Mr. Bad and I were defendant lobby number 1 when the murders occurred. So I really can't tell you anything about the hallway or lobby number 2.
I see.
Mackerel, Macaruba.
I'd like to ask you a few questions about your client, Mr. Mackerel. Now, your client first claimed to be the Yatagara Sioux, is that correct?
Yeah. Once I heard that it was the Yatagarasu that had made off with the evidence from KG8, I knew I had to murder him. I began to ask Mr. Rell all sorts of questions, such as who to murder, but to no avail. Turns out Mr. Rell was not the Yatagarasu. He just made that up.
He made it up?
Mr. Rell's crime was caught on tape by the security cameras. But there's no footage of him sneaking him to the Kodopian embassy itself. Hold on for just 1 second. Then you mean to say that you knew that he was not the real Yatagarasu? And that he was just another cold-blooded killer? And you were ready to defend him? Yes, that's right. I'm the bad guy. Duh.
I see. So a defense lawyer is actually just someone whose job is to cover for criminals. I must swear vengeance against all defense attorneys forever.
That's why defense lawyers are also detestable, especially blue ones. But hey, they are no match for us Von Karmas. I don't believe it! You're serious? Why don't you save that face for something really worth being serious about? And Mr. Edgeworth, do you remember what I said earlier? I have my own agenda. I'm still on the hunt for leads regarding the KG8 incident, all right?
And for that, you have not a single qualm about defending a known killer?
Don't put words in my mouth. I said no such thing. The only way I had to get close to Mr. L was to be his lawyer. I had no intention of covering for him ever. So don't you dare suggest what I was going to.
I'm sorry, forgive my rashness. Yatagarasu! I was wondering if you could tell me about the Yatagarasu.
The Yatagarasu, huh? I don't really know much about that character myself. I've only heard about it from my Japanese animes, but I do get a lot of consultation requests from companies to defend them.
Requests from companies?
The Yatagarasu isn't some petty thief out for money, you know. All right then. Perhaps the Yatagarasu is in the business of stealing people's lives. You're not very funny or witty, are you, little Miss Von Karma? Why don't you laugh at my jokes?
Franziska, be careful about who you whip. Choose careful. Ow!
There, I chose carefully, just like you wanted. Just now was hilarious, little Missy. Of course it was. I knew that would be a funny joke.
Why is everybody so mean to me? What is wrong with these two? What is wrong with women? I'm very misogynist.
And so, in the end, what is the Yatagarasu? I have to say, I had never even heard of the thief when I was in Germany. The Yatagarasu deals in information. Namely, in digging out dirt about the backroom dealings and the likes of companies. The Yatagarasu is a vigilante who steals such info and then makes it public for all to see. Vigilante or not, this person sounds like just another criminal to me. I suppose you could put it that way too. But either way, I get a lot more clients now thanks to that thief.
Sounds like Miss Yu is profiting nicely. I suppose I've gotten all I can out of Miss Yu. I should move on to speak with Detective Gumshoe now.
However, now also happens to be the perfect time to leave off today's stream. Oh my god, we made it. Every time we leave stream, it feels like I made no progress. Even whenever we make it to a to be continued, it's like, I don't know, did we really make that much progress in this case? I guess. And then we get to the last third of the case and it's like, oh my god, we're basically done. But yeah, that's gonna be everything for today. Next stream, I will be continuing this on Friday. And then next week, I really, oh shoot, I forgot. It's that thing. I forgot that next week I had that thing that I wanted to schedule. Okay, so next week I'm actually going to be starting a new thing as like a pre-Christmas thing. And then also on Saturday, I want to finish Echoes of Wisdom.
which means... So next stream, Friday, we're going to be doing more Ace Attorney. Maybe we finish this case. And then next week, I'm starting a new game. And then also, hopefully finishing Echoes of Wisdom finally. After missing that one stream where I wanted to finish the game. But yeah, that's going to be everything for today. Thank you so much for coming. And I will see you all next time. And as always, Yasu Moriarty. Good night.